record. What's up, guys? We're back, and I have Electivire ready for you guys, and they are pretty awesome. Hold on, this is kind of loud. You're loud. It's distracting me. Okay, there we go. Here we go. So I'm gonna get right into it with these guys because I was looking at the recent videos and they were pretty long. And I feel like being long is one thing, but being long and then kind of being all over the place is another thing. So nothing jumps out as super strange here because I'm pretty sure anybody who is already attracted to this hack is definitely like well adjusted to electric fighting Electivire by this point in time. I don't think anybody is going to have any qualms with that. If you do, then you definitely like that is something that I would expect anybody to be who the type of people that my hack will hopefully attract, or the type of people that will be interested in it, have probably no issues with this. So I'm not going to waste time talking about it. It's Electivire, man. He's got these big fucking arms. They got the vital spirit, all this crap. It fits fine. It's a ROM hack, and it's a unique typing. Although Zero Aura will also be electric fighting, and Zero Aura actually should have been electric fighting. Electivire maybe would have needed some more design changes or something. It's fine as pure electric in like real games, like logic-wise. I don't have any issues with that. Zero Aura though, there's no fucking excuse. I don't care. Like Zero Aura 100% should have been our first electric fighting. Anyways. I guess since I'm talking about Zero Aura, I can talk about how the two will be comparing. So Electivire is bulkier and potentially probably stronger, but it is much slower, and they have different abilities and different move pools. So Zero Aura will have, if I can remember off the top of my head, the way I was planning was, I believe, Reckless and potentially either Volt Absorb or Galvanize. Oh, Galvanize, yeah. So Galvanize and Reckless. But that's neither here nor there. Doesn't matter right now. I just wanted to quickly compare the two because you might be thinking, oh, you know, I always like to address, now that I have all of the Pokemon planned out, I can actually talk about how they compete with one another for certain niches and everything. And Electivire is no overlap really with Zero Aura. I mean, yeah, they're both mixed electric fighting types, but that's still, that's whatever. So abilities are great, stats are great. So if you guys watched the Magmortar video, I'm not gonna waste too much time talking about it, but I will talk a little bit. So they are technically semi-pseudos in the sense that the final evolution, the final evolution has a 575 base stat total. That is technically the only qualification. But then I would say a more traditional semi-pseudo would be a 3-stage line, and then even more than that, they would follow the base stat total pattern that I can like, for example, the Nido family follows. Like Nidoking is like a true semi-pseudo. Like the actual true semi-pseudos will have 335, 455, 575, and they'll evolve at 25 and 40. Sorry, 20 and 40. Elekid evolves later because number one, Electabuzz and also subsequently Magby and Magmar. I have to go all the way down. Jesus. I would control F, but I'm lazy. So subsequently, why did I just throw that word out? I forgot what I was saying, man. Okay, there we go. Now we're back. So I was saying Magmar, yeah. So they all level 25 because the pre-evolution stats were already really good on their own. Like they already had 360, 365 base totals. So why not just, you know, give it? I mean, they're mixed attackers. That's why their base totals are high. Otherwise, they would have much lower, probably 330-ish if they weren't mixed. But they are mixed, obviously. So because of that, 375, 525, and 475, they're pretty unique in that sense. And they are one of many Eviolite viable Pokemon. In fact, let me actually update the speed tier. I did it with the Magmortar line after the video, but I have to do it now before I forget. So, 97. I guess I could talk about, like, I cannot talk while I'm doing this. All right, I will do it after the video. I will. I will not forget. Because I cannot, for the life of me, multitask enough to speak coherently and also paste shit in there. And I'm not going to make it waste your guys' time. More than I already do. So, yeah, they have very fitting abilities as a whole, and the abilities, one of them stays static throughout the whole line because it's great and fitting, and that also, again, parallels Magmortar's lines, who has a Solar Rush. These guys get Volt Rush, which is a great ability. Oh, actually, what I will do is I will do this now and place them on the Volt Rush section because I did not do that yet. So let's do that. Volt Rush is great. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's you get double speed under Electric Terrain, and Electric Terrain is actually a TM, so That's why Electric and Grassy Train are TMs, because those are the only two terrains that actually activate abilities, and I don't want those abilities to be bad, because if they didn't have the instant ability to, like, how should I say this? Like, if they didn't have the instant ability to be toggled on and off, they would be very niche. It'd be good, but you would kind of be screwed over having to keep the move at all times, or to have a Drizzle or Electric Surge or whatever Pokemon on your team to abuse the abilities, you know? So all of them being TMs is very helpful. That's why Misty and Psychic Train are not TMs. Number one, because there's not enough room. Number two, again, because there are no abilities that are activated by those. So, that being said, Volt Rush is great on them. I guess, okay, actually, what I will say is one weird thing that might stick out of people is Electivire's speed stat, and I actually agree. I think it's fine, it fits, but it's a little on the higher side. I would have preferred like 102 or 97 or something. But what I'll talk about in a second is Proficiency, which I have to put Electivire on. Actually makes it so, like, it's Proficiency, you get more leverage out of it with a 107 speed stat. I'll actually talk about that right now. So then I'll talk about the pre-evolutions and stuff and the viability of those, because they're all very viable. Also, again, they are all mixed attackers. It makes total sense. I mean, Electivire is what he said to be like one of the strongest electric bonds, massive voltage, whatever the fuck. So being mixed totally fits him, and that's the main reason they are 575 base stat total, is because they are mixed attackers and they need the stat total. If I could have, I would have made Electivire bulkier, but then I would have had to make them pseudos, and they don't really fit pseudos in my opinion as much. I mean, they would be fine. Like, I could totally do it. I don't know. It feels better to have them as 575 in my opinion. Either way, they're fine. You know, you can always just run like Assault Vest on Electivire if you want bulk, or set up moves for bulk like Barrier and whatnot, or just, you know, use your utility moves like freaking, what is it called? Battle Cry and Strange Impulse and whatnot, just to lower stats and take hits better. But that being said, I will talk about Proficiency quickly. So what that does is, actually, no, I'll talk about Volt Rush as a whole, because it's great on the whole line. It's obviously it's better on Electivire than it is on Electabuzz, because Electabuzz is naturally a little bit faster. But what Electabuzz can do is it can run, similar to Magmar, it can run full-on bulky Eviolite sets, and you might look at this bulk and be like, that's kind of shitty, like it's very mid, it's very average. And it is, until you remember that it has Eviolite, and that you can just run max defensive Eviolite. Literally, like, I'll just show you right now. If I were to put max defensive Eviolite, you get 376 defense, and then special defense is 409. So if you're maxing, obviously that's if you have a plus nature. You wouldn't usually have a plus nature. I mean, you could, it's random. So if you're doing a Nuzlocke and you got a calm nature, you might want to run or say you got a, I don't know, I can't think of an example, but what's the one? Whatever. Point is, if you get a plus bulk nature, you can actually you could maybe even justify Electabuzz even more over Electivire. I would say that Magmar with Eviolite is a little bit better than Electabuzz, mostly because of the stat distribution, and that Magmar abuses Solar Rush better than Electabuzz abuses Volt Rush. But number one, I know a lot of people like Electabuzz, so, and I do too. I think I prefer Electivire, but Electabuzz is cool. And again, having the pure electric typing is definitely situationally more useful, because you have less weaknesses and different resistances and whatnot. And you actually aren't really hurting yourself too much in terms of learning moves. So for example, if you're not evolving your Magmar, like once you hit a certain point, like you're probably gonna, like let's say you're level 50 and you haven't evolved yet, like you're probably never gonna evolve it until maybe like later in the game. But you miss out on all of these moves. Electabuzz doesn't have that issue. It literally only misses out on two things that are like not a big deal. I mean, they're good moves. Hammer Arm is great, but it lowers your speed after. It's 120 base power, 90% accurate, gives you -1 speed, and it actually does the Smackdown effect. So Heavy Slam, Hammer Arm, and Smackdown actually do that now, which is super cool. I figured out how to do that and apply it to moves, so I thought it fits those moves. Fun fact, I tried doing it with Bone Club, but sadly I couldn't make it work like Thousand Arrows, where it affects flying types. It's not possible. Otherwise, I totally would have, and maybe I would have done it to like Mud Flying as well, because like the mud could theoretically make them not able to fly or something, you know. But regardless, also I never realized how weirdly humanoid Electabuzz's hands are. It's kind of creepy. Is that just in that art, or is it in all art? Ew, his hands are just kind of humanoid looking. That's kind of gross. And his fucking feet are weird. Electabuzz is a really weird, like Gen 1 goofy looking dude, but he's fucking cool. Like, look at, he's like a monkey with like a tiger stripes, and these weird ass, like the feet are fucking weird. But anyways, this is not a design critique. This is mechanical shit and explaining my thought process. So back on topic. Electabuzz, I mean, you're going to be keeping until 40 at the least anyways, and it's totally good and great, and you'll begin to Eviolite in the early 30s, so you will have a solid about 10 levels to where you can really abuse a lot Eviolite Electabuzz, which is really nice. And again, I showed you guys the stats. Let's do it without the plus speed nature to be more realistic. I only use speed, if you guys are wondering, just because it shows you the exact number on Showdown with the +1, which is what Eviolite is, so yeah. Yeah, this is still great, man. Great special defense stat. And then you got 65 without the plus of nature is good if you have max investment. So, and with no investment, it's still bulky. Like, I'll show you guys no investment. That's 249, which is so much bulkier than you would think, given the fact that if you're not running investment, you're either running max HP or you're running, like, just an offensive set with a Eviolite, which is totally valid. But yeah, Volt Rush, Electivire uses it better, you could argue, but it is still great on Electabuzz. Again, it's a TM, so you literally from the first island, before the first trial, you get Volt Rush or Elekid. I mean, I don't know if Elekid will be catchable at that point, but point is you can abuse electric terrain from the beginning of the game, and that gives you a 50% boost, so it actually stacks, so it's a 2.25 times boost to your electric stat, which is really, really strong. You know, it's literally just like in the rain or a sun with fire and fire and water type moves. What is wrong with my brain? I like blanked on the word water. Anyways, doesn't matter. All right. Point being, Volt Rush is great. Electabuzz can, like I said with Magmar, run bulky sets with Volt Rush, and it can run 0 speed investment, and it's actually even faster. Like, for example, let's say you have the worst speed ever, right? Like, let's say you're minus speed nature, 0 IVs. Like, this is not going to happen. If you're doing a Nuzlocke and you got minus speed nature, that's tough. If you're doing a not Nuzlocke, just catch another one. Although that would be annoying because it'll encounter rates for everything. But anyways, even then, you're still hitting 412 speed. You're like, you literally you're outspeeding fucking everything. I think it's actually one of the fastest Pokemon in the hack that has a weather/terrain speed boosting ability. The only faster one might be Sharpedo, on the top of my head, but for the most part, he's definitely in the top like 3 or 4 for like maybe even the second fastest, which is really impressive. So that's really cool. And again, that's really useful because you don't have to run any. But you can run max attack and special attack and just run a mixed set with Volt Rush if you wanted to, and you could do that with fucking Electro Outbursts, which so I'll cover some of these moves if you guys don't remember. Electro Outburst is one of the nuke type moves that I've made for a couple of moves that had no other real purpose animation wise, so I was like, fuck it, make them a cool nuke move. They -4 after use, but actually the way that calculation works is not as bad as you might think, because number one, 180 base power is literally Z move level, and number two, you can use it 3 times, and number 3, you can use a Z move of it and get 230 base power with no drawbacks, and number 4, a 2/3 drop, a -4 drop in Pokemon is only dropping your stat by 2/3, which is not really that bad, given how strong the move is. So you can click Electro Outburst, for example, twice in a row, and you will get, let me do the math, you have 1/3 of 180 is 60, so 60 plus 180 is 240, 240 divided by 2 is 120, so you're getting a 120 base power move with no drawbacks if you use it twice in a row. So it's great. It's totally strong and great. And that's on the second hit, obviously. If you use the first hit and kill it, then great, you got a 180 base power move, you know, so very useful. And that also encourages the use of its lower special attack stats, so and it also encourages use of mixed sets, because you can use Electro Outburst to kill some shit and then just run physical moves after that, you know, or vice versa with Superpower and special sets, you know, Superpower being 150 base power -2 attack, and then Zap Cannon being the standard version of Electro Outburst, because most, if not all, special electric types will get Zap Cannon, but only some will get Electro Outburst, either if I think it fits, like if they're the penultimate Pokemon of that type, like example Electivire, or if they're a mixed attacker with lower special attack, for example, or if they're just relatively weak. Also, I have to fix this format really quick. Hold on, that was bugging me. Just noticed. And obviously Electivire is not weak, but yeah, it's not all will get it, is my point, because it would be pretty ridiculous if like Electric Surge Raichu got Electro Outburst. I considered it because it is Raichu, and it's like, come on, you know, it's fucking Raichu, but yeah, it's just too strong, man. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. There we go. So, Otherwise, you have great stuff with Volt Rush on Electivire as well. You can just use a Electric Surge teammate on a Volt Rush team or an Electric Terrain team, or you can just set it up yourself. Totally viable option. You have the TM, so you can just switch it on and off as you need. Same thing with your abilities. Like I always say, infinite ability capsules from the very beginning. Just change your ability whenever the hell you need it. As for the pre-evolutions, Lightning Rod is used for early game, and it fits, and it rivals Magby's Flash Fire, and then Terravolt rivals Turbo Blaze, and these two are the only Terravolt and Turbo Blaze Pokemon in the game, which I think is kind of cool. And like, you know, I just think it's cool because you know it's like their eternal rivalry or whatever. And then because Magmortar gets Rapid Fire, I also opted to give Electivire a new ability as well, like new meaning a custom ability, because that's the best I could get in terms of a rivalry for the abilities, because I was not choosing Rapid Fire on Magmortar. It's too damn cool. And yeah, technically, oh my god, Electivire beats Magmortar now with typing. I mean, yeah, typing wise, sure, but like Magmortar clicks specs fucking detonate and murders it in a hit, or specs burn up and murders it in a hit. I bet you specs didn't burn up probably fucking one shots like assault vest sets too, to be honest. It's pretty nuts. But and if it doesn't, then it burns it. So like the only Electivire that's beating burn up Magmortar with Rapid Fire is special assault vest Electivire, which is actually a viable set. But anyway, because that's another thing with assault vest. So English assault vest sets and also Eviolite sets is you have parabolic charge and recharge. So parabolic charge, I'm sure you guys know, it was signature to a couple Pokemon before. Now it is not. Pretty much all special electro types and a bunch of other random mons get it. It's slightly weaker than Giga Drain purely because it would be too good in my opinion compared to like Thunderbolt and shit, because oh come on, really lagging that much? There we go. Because Giga Drain being too good, I actually fixed by making Energy Wall 95 base power, but I didn't want to make Thunderbolt, Thunder, Flamethrower, all those 95 base power again. So therefore Parabolic Charge is -5 base power, which is 5 more base power than it used to have. The only downside is that instead of healing by... actually, I forget. I always get this one mixed up with Draining Kiss. Did it used to heal to 75%? No, it was 50. Okay then. So I just made it up. So no, this is a strict buff then. Just slightly stronger, which is cool. I believe I made it not hit multiple opponents anymore. Let me actually check the files right now before if it doesn't, then if it does hit, no, it hits all. Yeah, it hits everybody around you, so that's cool. That's useful as well. Regardless, it's a good move on bulky sets is my point. So you can run that with Eviolite, or you can run that with Assault Vest on Electivire. You can also run Drain Punch for stab on Assault Vest sets on Electivire, and Assault Vest Electivire can also get setup moves without using it, with only using attacking moves. So Assault Vest Electivire has access to, like I said, basically it's actually really cool. So the main downsides of Assault Vest is you can't run utility moves like setup and healing, and obviously other stuff like stat buffing moves. But first and foremost, the biggest downsides would be no setup, no heal, right? And this is you cannot heal in battle in these games. So in this hack, you cannot heal in battle. So you would want healing on some sets. So you have especially Parabolic Charge, Charge Beam for setup, 50 base power plus 1 special attack, 100% accurate. And then you have access to Electro Ball, which gives you +1 speed now, which is really fucking cool. And you can actually snowball out of control with Electro Ball. I believe actually, let me check. No, Electro Ball only factors in the numerical stats. So like boosts from Swift Swim, or in this case Volt Rush, would not count. I know I'm like almost 100% positive on that, but somebody can please correct me if I'm wrong. If they want to like either test it in game or in Showdown or look it up in Bulbapedia. I'm too lazy to derail this by looking it up. But point being, it's a great move. You get stronger because the way that Electro Ball calculates damage is actually pretty garbage. So unless you're like Electrode with 150 base speed now, you're not going to be doing more than probably 60. Like if you're let's say a max speed Electivire uses it on like a base 100 speed mon, like a Charizard for example. You'd probably get 60 base power if I had to guess. Maybe even only 40. Maybe 80 at most on like okay, for example, if you use it on like a slow mon, you're probably getting 60 to 80 base power. It's almost impossible for like Electivire to get instantly 100 base power Electro Ball, or 120 or 150, which is the max. But the great thing is you get the +1 speed boost. So that's already like, even if you're only getting 40 base power, it's still boosting your speed by 1. And then the next time you use it, it's so much stronger, and then it keeps snowballing out of control until you're just killing everything with it. Besides ground types and immune Pokemon. But yeah, it's great for special assault vest sets. So you have Charge Beam, you have Electro Ball, and you have Parabolic Charge. And then on physical assault vest sets, you can run Drain Punch for healing, you can run Power Up Punch for boosting, and you can run 2 speed boosting moves. Actually, you have Rolling Kick, which is the equivalent to Flame Wheel now, so it has 60 base power and it boosts your speed by 1, which is great. And then you have, if this would load, please, thank you. You have Zing Zap, which is 85 base power, gives you +1 speed, and it has a 30% flinch rate. The downside being 90% accuracy, which doesn't sound that bad, but I mean, all of the other physical electric type moves have 100% accuracy, so Zing Zap is kind of oof in that compartment, especially if you miss it, it's pretty rough. So you might want to run Wide Lens, or just be a ballsy motherfucker and not care, but then if you're doing it as luck and you die using it, then, I mean, you're kind of setting yourself up for that, you know? Not to say that it's not bullshit, but I mean, it is what it is. That's why I put it there, so you don't. Otherwise, it would be overpowered as hell. And I didn't want to make it weaker because there are a lot of electric types that don't get, like, that logically just cannot use. There are physical electric type Pokemon that logically cannot learn Thunder Fang or Thunder Punch like reasonably, and therefore, what the fuck would their, you know, early game option be other than Spark, or what would their non-recoil move? Literally, the rest of them are all recoil. So you have Spark and then recoil moves. So what would your other option be? I can give them Galvanize. Like, okay, a good example is Zebstrika. I could have given it Galvanize as pure electric, but there's probably a couple other pure electric types, physical electric types that wouldn't make sense, or I don't. Point being, that's why Zing Zap is this power, and then I was like, you know what, let's make it a speed boosting move. It's pretty cool. It's like you have 2 for electric type, just like how electric also has 2 +2 priority moves. Spark and Shockwave are both +2 priority, 55 base power. There are only a handful of those moves. Most priority moves are +1 priority. As you can see, there is a giant list here of new moves and old moves made into priority moves, and then a couple of ones that existed before that range from 45 to 50 base power, depending on whether or not they needed it. They needed the buff for, like, for example, there are not many good special dark moves early game besides Dismal Cry, which it learns later because it's -1 special attack, blah, 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 blah. You guys get the idea. That's why these ones are higher base power. Like Poison Dart has Poison Thing, blah, blah, but then these ones have other shit. So this is not relevant to this change video, but I was coming here because I want to show you guys Vacuum Wave as well. This is a list of them. If you need to see which moves at +2 priority and are like the special ones, it's only these guys. It's Swift, Vacuum Wave, Shockwave, Spark. So it's the electric type ones. It's Swift and Vacuum Wave. It's Aerial Ace, Think Fast, and then Sucker is an obvious one. Technically, it actually had the same priority before, but Sucker outspeeding the regular priority moves is a given in my opinion. It totally should do that, just not like extreme speed and these fuckers. Out of the way though, you have Vacuum Wave as well. Another great thing you have is Nasty Plot, Swords Dance, and Bulk Up. So under electric terrain, those are insane. You can run like Volt Rush sets with Nasty Plot and Parabolic Charge to heal yourself, or just nuke shit with like Volt Rush, Electro Outburst, and just fucking blow things up. I mean, you have so much. It's very good stat-wise and move pool-wise to either run bulky sets or run offensive. Well, it can run bulky attacking sets, or it can run fast attacking sets, and it can hit from both sides of the spectrum. So it's a very versatile Pokemon. And now I can talk about proficiency. So logically, it fits him pretty well. I think it's just a cool option to have. Yeah, it fits nicely. And I wanted Reckless on Zero Aura, and also Reckless would be kind of boring anyways on Electivire because, again, Zero Aura would have it, and it fits Zero Aura a little bit better. It's faster and whatnot. But anyways, what was I saying? Also, has this looped yet? Okay, so I'm only on 24 minutes. That's good. Yeah, just Electro Outburst is super strong, like I said. You got physical options. You got other. Oh wow, my head has just started ringing really loudly. Holy shit! Give me a second. Wow. Okay, that's done. Jeez, man, that was a lot. Take a sip of water too. Excuse me. Okay. So, like I said, you also have like other utility shit like Parting Shot and dual screens and all this other cool stuff. Coverage wise, you have I mean, Electivire already had great coverage. I just gave it a little bit more on the mix side. So especially it has like, I don't even, I feel like I shouldn't waste time covering them because you guys can read, even if you don't know the exact changes I made to every single one of these moves, like they're still, the type is still, what the hell, is somebody knock on the door? What the fuck is that sound? Oh, somebody pushing a chair, okay, scared me. Yeah, you got Nasty Plot, Swords Dance woke up, those are great. In Undervolt Rush or not. And another great thing is with Proficiency, what that does is it is reskin of Beast Boost, so or a repurposed version of Beast Boost. And what that lets you do is it gives you a +1 to your highest stat. And the best thing is, unlike Beast Boost, where usually you had to, like, because the Ultra Beasts, I mean, they still will have very polarizing stats, but like they had very polarizing stats and they will have it. So it's really difficult to get any boosts in any other type and any other stat besides your highest stat for the most part. I mean, a couple of them could like Buzzwole, for example, could get attack or defense pretty easily because it's equal, but most part they just had one super high stat and the rest of them were like, you know, lower, generally speaking. And that means that it's kind of limiting, but what I've been trying to do with Proficiency is, at the very least, I want every Proficiency Pokemon to be able to boost at least 2 stats reasonably, usually speed and an offense, because that's the main reason you would use this over Moxie or Hubris. Well, also logically, like it wouldn't fit, you know, Moxie or, excuse me, Hubris might not fit the Proficiency Mons and vice versa, but logic aside, mechanically, it is also cool to be able to get the speed boost. Or, for example, if I gave Proficiency to a bulky Mon, it could get a bulk boost as well as an offensive boost, like a tanky Mon. Or something I really want to do eventually is make a Mon with very even stats have Proficiency, so it can literally just boost any stat reasonably. Maybe like with slight variance between the stats, but you know, with very minimal EV tweaking or nature specificity, you can guarantee which boost you will get. And in this case, that is why Electivire has the 107 speed specifically. Otherwise, again, I probably would have gone a little bit lower and made him a little bit bulkier. I probably would have done like, I probably would have kept 85 speed F and then gave him like 97 speed or something, to be real. So that way bulkier sets are more viable, and then also, I mean, they're still viable, but I know, of course, if you want bulk, you can also just use Electabuzz. But I was saying that also because you have like Volt Rush, which is for speed, but anyways, and also like agility and Zing Zap and Electro Wall and Rolling Kick, so all this great shit to boost your speed. So regardless, he's an electric type, so 107 speed fits fine. It's not like that weird or anything. It's a little bit odd because he's pretty bulky, but it's okay. The cool factor of having, where is the calculator? Here it is. I had it preloaded, but then I fucked it up because I forgot I had. No, I still have it preloaded. I just have to put the speed tier in properly again. So we're gonna do. Let's say you have a max speed. Let's say a hasty nature, which is probably one of the best natures for it. Hasty natured Electivire. Well, obviously any nature. That's another cool thing if you're doing a Nuzlocke, which is what I recommend, or at the very least doing the Nuzlocke rule of only catching the first thing. Then you can like tailor your sets to whatever your nature and IVs are. So it's kind of cool. Like every month's different. So like, oh, I got a plus speed one. Let me use faster sets, for example, whatever it is. But in this case, I tailored it so that way. So you have 344 speed at max, right? It's a good. I mean, that's a good speed tier in general to have. But the beauty is, with 244s, only very minimal attack EV drops, you will get a speed boost instead of an attack boost, and you can customize this because you have infinite EV training items available to you literally from the beginning of the game, and you can just reset your EVs willy-nilly and, you know, retrain your Pokemon over and over again. The proteins items give you 126 EVs, so you use those twice and you're maxed out. And then you have the wings for +4 increments, which is +4 increments is what matters with EV training. You know, +3 or 2 doesn't give you anything. So +4. That way you can really like control exactly what your UV spread is instantly with the wings. So that's these for the wings. And in this case, you would use you would use like a protein and then a bunch of wings to get 244 EVs. And again, those are infinite, even if it's supply of those. And that would give you 343 attack, and therefore you will get a speed boost, or just run max attack and then your max speed. Like I would have done 108 because 108 means that if you have a plus speed mag motor, Electivire, Electivire will have a higher speed stat if it's plus speed nature. But that actually kind of sucks because then you have to sacrifice your speed. Now you speed tie. Now you are slower than your attack. But this is a lower number than. Well, actually, maybe that's not a lower number, but sorry, it's the same number as 107 maxed out. But I would rather have to have a non-optimal slightly like a 10 EVs less in my, or 8 EVs less in my attack stat, then I would have less in my speed. So that's the logic there. And also just the lower the better, because I was already kind of pushing it with the 107. So yeah, oh, there we go, looping. So I'm at 30 minutes. Good to know. As I was saying, yeah, you can guarantee a speed boost, or you can just basically have Moxie and then, get your attack boost, which is great. Again, one of the nutty things about Electivire is with the great dual stab and the great coverage and the great setup, and the good stat, like you can really just click like boosting moves. So for example, Electro Ball or things that work great with Proficiency, because let's say you're running a max speed set, but you can run, like you can do Power Up Punch on a speed boosting Proficiency set, or you can do Zing Zap or Electro Ball on a attack boosting Proficiency set. So you can get a +1 speed from using the move, and then you get a +1 attack from, killing the Pokemon in front of you. And then you've got Drain Punch or Parabolic Charge for healing. So it's really, really fun and really, really customizable. That's the beautiful thing about him, is that you can really just do whatever. Like I said earlier, with the bulky sets as well. And that's really useful. And also you have a great special attack stat. So 115, when you have a plus speed nature, you're going to have to fuck with your speed a good amount to get special attack boosting sets when you have a plus speed nature. But if you have a neutral speed nature, for example, then you're easily getting a special attack boost with no EVs in your attack. Obviously, you would have a special attack boost. So you can customize attack or special attack that way. But if you wanted to do this, you would kind of be... Oh, that shouldn't be Jolly, sorry. That should be... I will just do freaking Naive, sure. Just so it's not dropping the special attack. You would have to be, cutting into your speed pretty significantly. 329 speed is what? Like around base 100, if I have to remember? Yeah, literally. So special attacking, boosting, plus speed nature Electivires have to run, will be only outspeeding base 101. We'll basically be hitting base 101 speed, in the sense that they actually don't outspeed base 101, because 101 is probably tying with it, I'm assuming. Let's check. Oh, no, I don't know numbers sometimes. I usually am good with that. It's fine. So you're outspeeding base 100s at least when you're maxed out with special speed, special attack boosting sets. And that also goes really nicely with Bulk Up and Swords Dance and Nasty Plot. So Proficiency works great with these boosting moves, works great with the healing moves. Another really cool thing that they can use is Recharge, and what that does is it heals you by a little over a third. So you heal by 30% or 35%. No, actually I changed it to 1/3. I knew I changed that weird percentage. That used to bug me. Yeah, 1/3. So you just heal 130 HP, which is already good. And then you double the power of your next electric move that you click, which is really strong. So, for example, you can use Recharge into Parabolic Charge or Recharge into Electro Outburst and just nuke something that is insane power. Also just Zap Cannon or any other move, fucking Volt Tackle or Electro Assault and Submission. Both of those are really great. Those are 150 base power, -1 defenses, and they give you 25% recoil, and you will be taking a lot of recoil because you're probably doing a lot of damage with the moves, but they're 100% accurate, which is great. It's just a stronger version of the recoil moves, 5 close combat, but you have both effects at once, so you really got to decide whether or not you're willing to take that risk, or you're going to one-shot what's in front of you. Because otherwise you're in a bad spot. You're probably going to die whatever they click, if they click the not attack. That being said, like I said, tons of great coverage. I'm not going to waste time listing these off. You guys can read, all right? I believe you guys can read. So you guys can see. None of these are really weird. Only weird ones I can think of that people might find kind of odd. Fangs. My man has fangs, and I felt weirder not giving it to them than giving it to them, So that's what I did. Nothing else is really weird. Power Whip. I've been giving it to Mons with Mons that are either known for using their tails. Not like, okay, yeah, technically Electabuzz has a tail and you can use that whip, but that's not really powerful enough. Versus Nidoking, for example, can use Power Whip because he has a big fucking tail, a strong, meaty tail. Electivire has these cool little whip outlet looking thingies on its back, so that's also how he uses Iron Tail, I assume, because those are technically coming from his tail. But anyways, yeah, Power Up is good on him, actually really good, because they're getting the electric type. And then he also has Grass Knot physically, and Electabuzz also has Grass Knot physically for physical grass coverage as well. No special grass coverage, so I was considering Energy Ball for a second, but I figured, I don't know, it just felt weird for some reason, even though I know a lot of other electric types get Energy Ball now. I just opted not to give it to them. Either way, Tons of good coverage. Not gonna waste time talking about it anymore. You guys can read. All right. Setup. I already said a billion times. The setup moves they have. You also have other utility stuff and cool stuff that you can do. So early game, obviously you have dual stat priority. Mach Punch, Vacuum Wave, Spark, and Shockwave by Tutor, which is right there. And those are great. And then you have good fighting stabs all over across the board. Otherwise, you have some cool utility shit. You got Screech, which is cool. Again, I said Recharge is amazing. Nuzzle gives -1 offenses on top of paralyzing them. So that is cool over Thundershock, although Thundershock and Force Palm both are stab moves that always paralyze. So it's up to you which one you want to use. I would say early game, if you have a physical Elekid, then you would probably run Nuzzle instead of Thundershock. But again, 40 damage is good for a guaranteed paralysis. So, and that's why I made it good, is because, you know, they're electric. But this is also very good, especially for totems and shit. Like, you could argue Nuzzle is so much better for totem Gumshoes than Thundershock is. And then you get Force Palm later on, at the same level or a similar level than you evolve, a couple of levels before you evolve. And that is great. You have 2 dual stabs that paralyze, and then you can use those in conjunction with Smelling Salts, which is priority. It's like essentially it's fake out, but you can use it on any turn. But it only has 1 PP, so you have the time when you're using it. So for example, you can do a Force Palm / Shockwave into Smelling Salts combo, and that will give you a +4 priority, 150 base power stab move on the second turn, which is really strong. And it also, of course, always flinches them, which is really useful. But again, that's an entire move slot dedicated to that, so it's still situational, but it's good. It is good. It is very good. You can also just run CB Smelling Salts to get a 1-hit KO on something that you really need to kill in 1 hit, you know, so that's really, you know, that's faster than you or whatever. So, you know, if Mach Punch isn't strong enough or something. So, these are always useful moves to have, even if they're only one-time use for battle, because there are no Lepa Berries, so yeah. Or Lepa Berries exist technically, but I removed the effect off of them, so no PP cheesing with the low PP moves, because those are done on purpose. You also have Force Waves for special sets, as well as Aura Sphere and Focus Blast, which are much stronger now and just much better moves. They were, I mean, Aura Sphere was fine, but nothing fucking learned it, and then Focus Blast was shit. So yeah, and you also got Uproar post game for some cool, more reliable option over Focus Blast, but it locks you in. But I actually like Uproar way more than Outrage and Petal Dance and Thrash, or I guess in this Thrash I changed it to Kerfuffle, never mind, for Fairy type, but I like those more because I like Uproar more because it's consistent. You always know it's 3 turns, so you don't have to worry about it. You can really be strategic. Versus with Outrage, it's like you're kind of just clicking it because you know whatever the fuck is coming out next is gonna die or whatever, you know. So I don't really like those moves that much. It kind of rewards like brainless. I don't know. I just don't like them. All right, and that's why I have made them, most of them post game by Tutor, or only specific mons learn Petal Dance or Kerfuffle. Either way, Force Waves is great. 70 base power overall. It hits twice, so it's weaker than Aura Sphere, but it has a 51% chance overall to paralyze, which is really useful. And it hits twice, meaning it bypasses stuff like Focus Sash and Sturdy and Choppleberry, etc., etc. So that's really useful as well. So it's definitely useful over Aura Sphere in certain cases, although Aura Sphere is infinitely teachable as a TM, so, you know, pick and choose. I would probably teach Force Waves over it, and then the second I get into a fight that, or the second I know a fight is coming up that I'm gonna need the power of Aura Sphere over, then I'll reteach Aura Sphere. That's what. That's also pro tip, by the way, because there's no relearner until the end of the game. Keep the level up moves instead of TMs until you are at a point where you need the TM, if that makes sense. So even though, you know, this move is kind of niche, I would keep it until you need the other move slot. That is, especially if you're doing a team locked type of Nuzlocke, which is what I recommend trying if you're into hardcore Nuzlocks and you've never done a team locked one before. I would definitely recommend it. Although I've said this in other videos, if you want to fucking team change every battle, that's also really cool in its own right, and that's really fun, and also has its own strategy because you're counter teaming everything and you're picking out the optimal matchup, and that's really cool. And some people really enjoy doing that. I prefer using what I have. It feels a little more, I wouldn't say honest. I don't want, because I'm not trying to like shame people who play that way. That's actually like really cool. And it technically takes more time because you have to really like, if you want to do well, you're going to really have to like plan it every battle, but it also makes them easier. So it takes more preparation, but it also makes them easier because you can literally just counter type everything. So if you're going to do switching, you could maybe do something like a cool, you know, play it however the fuck you want, man. You want to switch out your team every battle? That's also really cool. Another good thing of switching teams in this game is there are so many fucking cool Pokemon to use. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you were going to team switch in any game, I would totally justify it in this because you can just use all of the cool shit, you know, versus with a team locked Nuzlocke, you're kind of restricting yourself. But That's why you just play the game over and over again. You just replay it because it has so much replay value because of all the fucking cool Pokemon and fun battles and changes and shit. But I think I covered about everything. Oh, you also have Meditate on top of the bulk up stuff. Meditate is just +1 attack, +1 special defense, so it's like in between. It's like a mix of Calm Mind and bulk up, which is cool. Meditate's cool. Barrier is cool. You can do like Barrier and Meditate with Strange Impulse. Sorry, Parabolic Charge to heal. That would be really cool. Like really cool actually. Really fun set. Honestly, I would totally. And you could also do like you could do, for example, you could run a all-out bulky set with Barrier, Meditate, Parabolic Charge, and then like Vacuum Wave, which is +2 priority, and then you don't need to run in speed investment at all, you know. So, for example, if you've got like a sassy natured Electivire, or even Electabuzz can run that as well. You just wouldn't get stabbed on Vacuum Wave, so I would run Shockwave instead. So yeah, actually it's probably better on Eviolite Electabuzz because it's so much bulkier. So you can totally run like bulky Eviolite Electabuzz with Barrier, Meditate, plus Shockwave and Parabolic Charge for healing, Shockwave for this, and also your natural speed is good anyways. Oh, also viability. So I talked about Lightning Rod being situationally very good because you're frail. Being completely immune to electric moves is always great. It's always going to be nice to have that option to ability capsule it on and off. Otherwise, Terravolt is really useful. You probably just want to keep Terravolt on until you know that you're running Volt Rush for that battle, meaning you know that you're going to be either setting up electric terrain yourself, which is very easy to do, or that you're going to be using the opponent's electric terrain against them. If you're not doing that, then just run Terravolt because there are tons of abilities that bypass. Like there's so many more than I always list like the obvious ones, like Sturdy, Multiscale, Energy Shield, which is a multiscale. Actually, sorry, I believe Terravolt does not. You know what? This has been in my mind for a while. I'm actually going to Google it because I don't know. I think that Mold Breaker doesn't bypass Energy Shield, which came from Shadow Shield, but I think Terravolt and Turbo Blaze might. Let's see. No, it does not. Yeah, so Shadow Shield is actually unbypassable. Either way, so or in this case, Energy Shield. Wait, no, this is Generation 7. Okay, it's still not there. So yeah. Yeah, okay, it tells you right here. So yeah, just Shadow Shield. And also, so this is Resilient. This is Energy Shield, and this is Determination, I believe. Actually, I honestly kind of forget which one. I have to check in the files because there's like a bunch of Full Metal Body / Clear Body reskins. There's like 3 of them. There's Bird's Eye View, there's Determination, and there might be one more. Maybe not. I think it's just those 2 actually, but still. That being said, Terravolt's useful. I mean, there's you can literally see the list here. So you've got all of the immunity abilities, so Levitate, Lightning Rod, Volt Absorb, all that shit, which is great to have. I mean, again, the beauty of ability capsules and the beauty of trainer docs is you can just see, oh shit, this guy has a flash fire, whatever. Let me give Terravolt to my Electabuzz and run Flamethrower and bypass it, whatever it is, you know? So that's really cool, or Flint Fire Punch, whatever it is. So Terravolt's always great to have. It's not a boosting ability, but it's just nice to have it, and it fits really well. And then I already covered Proficiency and how great that is. And another thing with Proficiency that I didn't cover yet, besides all of the setup, is you have Belly Drum, which becomes at +6. Well, actually, sorry, Proficiency does not work with Belly Drum because, I mean, actually, it could. Actually, no, it could, because you can run a speed boosting set with Belly Drum. Actually, I just realized you could totally fucking run Proficiency Belly Drum with like Mach Punch or Spark, probably, and then just click Spark, get the KO, and then get a +1 speed, and then just go to town, you know? And also, when you're running Belly Drum, you don't need to invest in your attack, probably. I mean, I really doubt you would need to invest in your attack to get any KOs. So, and if you are investing, it's going to be very minimal investment to get the KO on whatever you need to get the KO on. So then you can afford to invest in your bulk to get the Belly Drum off easier as well, which is cool. And Z Belly Drum is great because it ignores taunt and it heals you and whatnot, so that's really fun. And other stuff you have is Power Trip with Proficiency is great. So Power Trip, I've covered this in other change guides, but for those of you who either haven't watched those and are just tuning in for this one, or, you know, just forget things, which is totally understandable because I've changed fucking everything, so I don't blame you for forgetting things. Power Trip is 20 base power still, but so it still gets 20 base power per boost, but the changes I made is it has way less PP, only 3, which cannot be PP maxed or PP upped. The reason for that being you get +1 attack after you use the move, which is insane. So it becomes 40 base power, +1 attack, etc., etc. You keep snowballing. So you can do that 3 times because if they had even 5 PP, You get a limited supply of PP maxes and PP ups in the hack, a very limited supply. They're not purchasable, but you will be getting them from gifts, which I cannot change, and you'll be getting them from picking up shit, which I, again, cannot change. So giving it to the player to have 8 PP means you could literally just sweep the entire fucking battle with power trip / stored power and like all of these setup moves, which fucking everything has, and the Z moves +1 all stats. It would be ridiculous. So 3 PP is very reasonable. You can at most get 3 KOs with it, which is a lot. That's half the fucking team. So do not sleep on power trip. And of course, you're boosting yourself, so you can still kill shit after the fact. You know what I mean? Like it's not like your other moves are weak or anything. You know, you just keeping it in check a little bit because they are very strong otherwise. Either way, that works really great with proficiency because again, you're boosting after you get each kill, so you get a boost, and then that boosts power trip's power. So you can use bulk up, drain punch, power trip sets with proficiency, and just snowball out of control. So they have so much fun options. I don't want to waste too much more time covering or restating things. I mean, you have regular useful shit like reversal sets can be really useful with proficiency. You could totally run like Endure, Select, Reversal with proficiency. That would be really good actually because you get the +1 speed, and then you can also EV to get more speed boost if you need, or just EV to get an attack boost, and then you just kill everything with a stab reversal. That's really fun, and Endure is a TM, so that's really viable. And you got all this really cool shit, man. Tons of options, a little bit of choice process with him, not gonna lie, but that's kind of the beauty of it. You know, you can really customize your sets and use whatever works best for you, whatever is more fun for you, whatever you want, you know. So really cool. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. They are very cool Pokemon. I like them, and I'm happy with how these 2 guys turned out as a whole. Very strong, very cool. And thanks for listening. And I'll be back with, I don't know what's next off the top of my head. I think it might be, I think we're nearing the, I'll check really quick. What's next? Oh, Pinsir. Fuck yeah. Oh, I fucking love Pinsir, man. All right, stay tuned for that one then, because I'm hyped for Pinsir, and I already know what he's going to be in my head, and then you guys are going to like it. I know you will. If you are a Pinsir fan, if you are a based Pinsir. Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys, and I'll see you in a little bit.